Colin Cowherd interjected while Mike Silver was essentially making the case that Jimmy should still be their quarterback and say, I think they should trade Jimmy Garoppolo right now for a 6th-round pick and be done with it. First of all, my instant reaction to that was, you still think you can get a 6th-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, no one wants that contract. To move Jimmy Garoppolo, I think the Niners would have to pick up some of the bill, which wouldn't make sense because his contract isn't guaranteed, and they'd be better off just cutting him or keeping him, not keeping him. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure they could get a 6th-round pick, but that's what Cowherd thinks. Just be done with it, because he said Trey can't take over the room as long as Jimmy's there, and I totally agree with that. So I don't know. I mean, I do think the Niners are probably going to hedge and try to keep Jimmy. I think it's a big mistake, and I think Cowherd's right. And even if they try to keep Jimmy out and have him just be like sort of rehabbing on the side, I mean, just the idea of Jimmy still being on that team is going to be a distraction.
Yeah, and then it might end up causing what they're afraid of, which is Trey Lance not being able to develop or not being able to command or lead this team, because everyone's saying, oh, well, Jimmy's here, he can do it. Right? He did it before. He got us to the Super Bowl, got us to an NFC championship. So any sort of danger is any sort of failure or any sort of speed bump that Trey Lance hit, that roster, people on that roster are going to immediately start looking to Jimmy Garoppolo. And you can't have that on your team.
No, and even, again, I talked about this a few months ago, but this is what Jimmy could do. It's what probably I would do. I'm an asshole. Sorry. But what he could do is, Trey has a rough outing. Or even he wins, misses some throws. Misses a throw to Kittle.
I would have got you.
I would have got you. Or doesn't see Kittle open. Man, he's not throwing you enough. If I was out there, you'd be getting 10 targets a game. And what's that about?
Yeah.
He's costing you money. Debo, your numbers were better last year with me. But you say that quietly, I mean, he's the one. Trey's supposed to be the leader, but Jimmy's the one with the relationships in the locker room. All these players know him longer, better,
Like Mitchell.
Trey's like the new kid at school who's trying really hard to make everyone like him. He's like inviting them over to their house. He's letting them play their video games. He's like, hey, be my friend. But Jimmy literally is their friend.
You could see the difference in, remember the difference in when he took that podium for the first time, and it was like he was a completely different. And then he said last year's situation was a bit tough. Like, I didn't really have a feel of how I can react on the podium because of the situation that happened last year. So it does completely change your perspective as a quarterback and what he can do, what he can't do, how he handles the leadership position on the team, all that stuff. And then obviously, you could have Jimmy Garoppolo behind the scenes, saying things to certain players, and maybe that might not be him though. Who knows? But even if it wasn't Grant, like just the fact that he's there is going to cause players to think.
Right. I agree. Like if he's at lunch, that's awkward. If he's at a team meeting, that's awkward. He can be on the team and he can be throwing, and the Niners can be cute and like hold out to try to trade him or whatever, or to keep him as a safety net in case Lance bombs or gets hurt. But he can't be in the facility. Can't be there. He just can't be there. He can be there early before people get there and late when people leave, but he can't be there. Otherwise, Trey's going to feel inhibited. Like, I can't be the leader. I can't talk. I can't be myself. Just his mere presence around other teammates will confuse people and will hurt Trey Lance's development.
I disagree in that I don't even think he can be on the roster. Like, there's just the fact that he's on the roster, that he's available, that he's an option. If he's
that's fine, but he can't be in the facility. He can't be in the cafeteria. Can't be in the auditorium. He's got to be on. He's not on the team. He's on the roster, but he's out with D Ford somewhere or further away. D Ford's on the team. Swear to God. I have multiple sources confirming this.
Yeah. He's still on the team.
Pedro says, I went back and watched Steve Young highlights. He seemed to finish across his body like Trey does. Steve didn't always throw with a tight spiral either. That's true about the second part. I know what you're seeing. Go and watch JT O'Sullivan's video on throwing a spiral. He actually mentioned Steve Young specifically and said that the way Steve did it was when he got to the release point, he actually bounced his hand back up and got a lot of wrist action, as JT O'Sullivan pointed it. So that's the way he did it, and it was a way to get a real flick with his wrist, and I think that Steve probably got more of a flick than Lance does at this time. But that was Steve in his 30s, and I think he worked on that a great deal. Bryant says Jimmy wins Super Bowl as a backup. That's true. He is a proven Super Bowl backup quarterback. If Jimmy's your backup quarterback, you probably have like a 78% chance of winning the Super Bowl.
Depends what's his price point though. Not at $27 million.